Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So in today's video, I am going to be reviewing the SavorOne Rewards credit card by Capital One. So I'm going to be going over the main features of this credit card, the pros as well as the drawbacks. So hopefully by the end of this video, you should have a much better idea of whether or not this card is a good fit for you. Now there are actually two other Savor cards by Capital One. I'm going to briefly go over those as well, but I'm mostly going to be focusing on the SavorOne card in today's video. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so diving right into the main features of the SavorOne Rewards credit card by Capital One. Starting out, you will be earning a $200 spend bonus as long as you're able to spend at least $500 within the first 3 months. That's only spending right around $167 per month in order to reach the $500 milestone. For most people, that's not going to be too difficult to do. Now, as far as cashback goes, they do have multiple 3% cashback categories. So you will be earning 3% cashback on dining, entertainment, popular streaming services, as well as grocery stores. Then on everything else, you will be earning just 1% cashback. Now they do have some extra special categories as well. So for instance, you will be earning 8% cashback on Capital One entertainment purchases, which is basically their ticketing platform, sort of like StubHub, Ticketmaster, etc. And then you'll also be earning 5% cashback on hotels and rental cars as long as you book them through Capital One Travel, which is sort of like their travel platform like Expedia. And they also advertise that if you find a better price online, they'll match it as long as you let them know within 24 hours after booking. And they also say that if you book a flight when Capital One recommends that you do so, and the price drops within 10 days, you can receive up to $50 in travel credit for the difference. So that's some pretty good stuff there. In addition to those features, for the first 15 months starting out with this card, you will have a 0% intro APR on both purchases and balance transfers. So if you have a lot of larger transactions coming up and you don't have the ability to pay them off all at once, you can take advantage of the 0% intro APR for the first 15 months and then slowly pay off those transactions over time. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that you do so just because after the first 15 months, the APR will rise. And I don't like to see people put themselves in a position where they're over leveraged and they end up having to pay a bunch of interest on their credit cards. So make sure to keep your balance as low as possible if you do decide to take advantage of the 0% intro APR and slowly pay off transactions over time. Now, in addition to that, you'll actually receive even more benefits with the SavorOne Rewards credit card. So for instance, you will be receiving complimentary Uber benefits. So you'll be given a free Uber One membership through November 14th, 2024. Plus, you'll earn 10% cashback on purchases through Uber and Uber Eats. You'll also be getting extended warranty protection on eligible items that are purchased with this card. And you'll also receive travel accident insurance, so you can get automatic insurance for a covered loss at no extra charge as long as you use this card to purchase your fare. Now, in addition to that, you'll also be receiving some extra protection with this card. So for instance, you'll be receiving $0 fraud liability. So if your card is lost and stolen and someone goes off to use your card and racks up hundreds of dollars in charges, you will not be liable to pay for those charges, thank goodness. And in addition to that, you can also set up security alerts to be sent to your phone or email like text anytime a transaction is made over a certain amount, whichever threshold you decide to set. Okay, so those are the main features of this card. Now it's time to go over the APR and fees because this is also super important as well. Now, like I mentioned starting out, as far as the APR goes, for the first 15 months on both purchases and balance transfers, you are going to have a 0% intro APR. However, after that, your APR will then jump up to either 19.74%, 25.74%, or 29.74% based on your credit worthiness. That's going to be the exact same thing for balance transfers as well. Now, as far as balance transfers go, even though you will have a 0% intro APR for the first 15 months of having this card, there is going to be a fee of 3% of the amount of each transfer balance during those first 15 months. Now, as far as some other fees go, if you pay late, there is going to be a $40 fee. Now, for the first time or two that you do pay late, you might be able to call into Capital One and ask if they can go ahead and waive that fee. For the first time or two, they might be able to do so, but after that, I wouldn't keep testing your chances there. Now, thankfully, with this credit card, there is no annual fee, so you don't have to sit and think every single year whether or not this card is worth keeping. If you're paying an annual fee, you don't have to judge whether the benefits that you're receiving is worthwhile paying an annual fee because there is no annual fee. Also, this is a credit card that you can certainly take with you if you do happen to travel abroad because there is no foreign transaction fee. Now, we also have to quickly talk about cash advances here. On this channel, we definitely recommend to not do cash advances. However, if you decide that you do want to take out a cash advance, just know that the APR for cash advances is going to be 29.74% plus a fee of either $3 or 3% of the amount of each cash advance, whichever happens to be greater. Okay, so now that we went over the main features of this card as well as the APR and fees, it's time to go ahead and jump into what I would consider to be the biggest pros and cons of this credit card. So we're going to start out with the good things. The first good thing, in my eyes at least, is the fact that there are multiple categories in which you can earn 3% cash back in. Like I mentioned before, these categories do include dining, entertainment, popular streaming services, and at grocery stores. So if you spend a lot of money on dining and on entertainment, this is going to be great for you because you are going to be earning 3% cash back in those categories. In addition to that, another pro of this credit card is the fact that you will be earning a $200 spend bonus as long as you're able to spend at least $500 within the first 3 months, which really won't be all that difficult to do. You're also not going to be charged an annual fee to use this credit card. You won't be charged a foreign transaction fee, so you can travel abroad and take this card with you. And then also for the first 15 months, you will have a 0% intro APR, so that's some pretty good stuff there as well. So those are the pros. As far as the drawbacks go, the first one, of course, is the fact that you will need to have an excellent credit score in order to be approved for this credit card, at least from the Capital One website. And then also on all other transactions, other than the ones that you're going to be receiving the 3% cash back in, unfortunately, you're only going to be receiving 1% cash back in. So on gas, for instance, you might want to consider using another credit card because if you use this card for gas, you're only going to be earning 1% cash back. So you might want to consider using a card such as the Citi Custom Cash Card. With that card, you'll be earning 5% cash back in your top spending category. So for instance, you could use the Citi Custom Cash Card solely for gas purchases. That way you'll be earning 5% cash back in gas and then 3% back in these categories that you'll be getting with the SavorOne Rewards card. Okay, so to wrap up this video, I would definitely recommend this credit card. In my eyes, it is pretty valuable for most people to have. Of course, all your spending habits might be different, so you'll definitely have to keep that in mind as well. Now, also keep in mind, there's actually another card called the SavorOne Rewards for good credit on their website. This card has all the same benefits that we just went over as this one, except there is no $200 spend bonus. So make sure to apply for the card that does have a $200 spend bonus if you are going to apply for it. Also, there is another card on there called the Savor Rewards card with mostly the same benefits, except with that one you can actually earn a $300 spend bonus, but you will have to spend at least $3,000 within the first 3 months. You'll also receive a bit more in cash back though, so you'll be getting 4% cash back on dining, entertainment, and popular streaming services, 3% cash back at grocery stores, and 1% back on everything else. You don't have a 0% intro APR starting out though, and you also have a $95 annual fee, which basically offsets the extra $100 in your spend bonus. So with that said, out of the 3 credit cards that you'll see on the Capital One website, the card that I reviewed today, the SavorOne Rewards card, is definitely my favorite at least. But at the end of the day, that decision is going to be up to you. But that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.